Now we'll open the community session. Public comment. Anyone out there who would like to speak to us? Now it's time. Hearing no public comment, I would like to speak as a member of the public, not a board member. I would like to spend just a minute informing vocabulary that gives a false picture. Be aware of these terms and how they are being used today. They are red flags. The stage is being set. New world order, one world government, global public interest, the Great Reset, the World Economic Forum at the UN, the Fourth Industrial Revolution, artificial intelligence, central planning, evolving and transformation, genetic engineering, implant technology, new social contact, United Nations Agenda 2030, central banking with digital currency, stakeholders, the elite in charge, positive change, metaverses, virtual reality, diversity and inclusion, sustainability forms of energy, universal access. Challenge those who use these terms, and I'll refer to this later as a director. Voluntary public roll call. Anyone out there want to let us know you're here?
Yes, Byron. The Roseman News is here. John Joyce reporting.
You're still working for the Roseman News?
They haven't let me go yet.
Okay, welcome, John.
Thank you.
Anyone else? All right, I have a motion for the consent calendars, CC1, May 15th and May 10th. Motion, Director Stewart. May I have a second? Second, Director Webb. All in favor, say aye. 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 Opposed? Motion carried, 5-0. Minutes. May I have a motion to approve M1?
President Glenn?
Yeah,
I have one note or one correction in the minutes.
In the minutes?
Yes. So the minutes reflect a numerical correction of the annual budget adoption resolution, 23-7. Just for the record, there was an incorrect number that was assigned. 2023-2 was assigned. Should have been 7, and so it's been corrected in the minutes.
So it's been corrected in the minutes.
Correct.
Okay. All right. Johnny, just a motion for M1. A little bit louder. So moved for Stewart. Motion Stewart. Second. Second, Director Wallace. All in favor, say aye. 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 Opposed? Aye. Motion carried, 5-0. Public hearing, PH1, assessment of levy for the landscaping. General Manager, Kim. And we also have the manager of the NDS, the one who does this for us. I guess that might be on the line.
She'll be available to answer.
Okay, be available to answer.
Yes.
All right.
Recommend you open the public hearing first.
Oh, down to A. Okay, it's resolution 2023-8. Open the public hearing at 6:04. Brief presentation by the district staff.
Thank you, Mr. President. At the May 10th, 2023 meeting, the resolutions initiating proceedings and declaring intentions to levy and collect assessments for lighting and landscape assessment district number 2 were adopted. Per the engineer's report presented with the resolution, no assessment increases are proposed, so no Prop 218. Staff recommends receiving public comment within the scope of the proposed action receiving board comment, and then approving the resolution confirming the assessments for the upcoming fiscal year.
Hey, is there any public out there that would like to speak to this issue? Yeah, I did notice that you said there is actually no increase this year.
No increase.
Hearing no feedback from the public, is there anything the directors have? All right. I will close the public hearing at 6:05. We'll move on to adopting Resolution 2023-8. There's no more discussion. I'll have to ask for a motion. Have a motion? I'll make a motion. Motion, Director Wallace. Second? Second, Director Stewart. All in favor of Resolution 2023-8, say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes 5-0. New business, NB1. Approving of a side letter agreement with our local union. General Manager.
Thank you, Mr. President. So back on May 11th, 2022, the board approved the MOU, and in a separate action that same night, established the position of Chief Water Reclamation Plant Operator. The adoption of a salary range for the position was not finalized at the time. Staff consulted with the union and the previous general manager to determine what salary range was intended to appropriately compensate the position, as well as determine the minimum qualifications for the position. So in order to mitigate potential salary compaction issues, the attached amendment to Appendix A, which shows the new salary range, it has been negotiated with the union as well as the job description. The attached side letter agreement formalizes the negotiated arrangement with one correction, Mr. President and Board. On item 1 of the side letter agreement, the date needs to be changed. Retroactive date needs to be changed to June 1st instead of July 1st. So we'll make that change. What it does is it clarifies the range of the salary and the job qualifications. It's consistent with comparable positions in similar special districts. There'll be a slight operational budget increase to accommodate the change, but this action is recommended for the district to maintain wage consistency in the wastewater operations profession. Recommended approval.
All right. Any directors have any questions?
What was the correction from June 1st to July 1st, or was it July 1st?
July 1st to June 1st.
July 1st.
Correct.
I have a motion for NB1.
Motion.
Motion, Director Washington. May I have a second? Second, Director Stewart. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. I do have one question. Did we find the Chief Water Reclamation Plant Operator behind the bush out there by the...
I don't recognize him, actually.
Congratulations, sir.
Thank you.
And thank you for your service. Do I skip NB2?
Mr. President, you approve the agenda as it stands, and NB2 was inadvertently omitted, so we're moving on to NB3.
Okay.
NB3.
NB3, retroactive approval of the agreement with the Fisher Compliance for Sanitary Sewer Monitoring Plan update and training. And again, this is retroactive, so we need to act on it.
Yes. And actually, just to inform the board, on August 24th, the board authorized staff to negotiate the agreement with Fisher for the sanitary sewer monitoring plan audit to comply with the regulations. So staff had negotiated scope and fee. The agreement had never been brought back to the board. So I'm bringing it to the board for adoption.
If there's no question, I have a motion for NB3.
Motion for NB3.
Director Washington makes the motion. May I have a second? Second, Director Stewart. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. NB3. And B4 would direct approval of the engagement letter with our auditing service.
Thank you, Mr. President. So we received the engagement letter on May 3rd, which was too late to place on the agenda for May 10th. They needed action in order to begin collecting the data for the audit. So this and it's consistent with the fees that they've been charging in the past. They've been your auditor for many years, so I recommend approval.
Question. My understanding is that because we've had them for several years now, it makes it much quicker for them to do the audit, which saves us money. But there is an issue sometimes in wanting to switch auditing companies and we may want to consider that next year. But I'm fine with this. Anyone have any questions? All right, I have a motion for NB4 by Director Wallace. I have a second.
Second, Director Webb.
All the way down at the end.
All the way down there.
Second by Director Webb. All in favor say aye.
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 Motion NB4 is carried. NB5, approval of the First Amendment to the employee agreement with our current general manager, presenter, Director of Administration.
Thank you, Mr. President. So on May 10th of 23, the board passed a policy which addressed salary increases for represented employees and exempt employees. The policy provides for equitable increases for both sets of employees in either event. In the event either side receives an increase. The policy excluded the increase for employees with an employment agreement. The current employment agreement with your general manager indicates that an increase is due to the general manager if either group receives an increase, which is contrary to the adopted policy. The proposed First Amendment corrects the language to be consistent with the policy. Any increases to the general manager are at the discretion of the board and may only be done through an amendment to the employee agreement. Since the employee agreement language is not consistent with the policy, approval of this is recommended.
Any questions? Are you happy with it? You want
It's the right thing to do.
Okay. I think we've talked about this in the past, and I think it's something that he's in the process of clearing up confusion.
Yeah. Right.
All right. I have a motion for NB5. So moved. Motion by Director Stewart. May I have a second?
Second by Director Washington.
He beat you, Director Washington. Second by Director Webb. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carried NB5. NB6, approval of the well construction access agreement with BHP on Richmond LLC. This is the monitoring well, right?
That is correct.
Yeah.
So this is the monitoring well OMW-3, which is the northwestern one. As a condition of having the access rights to construct and also monitor the well, the owner of the property is developing the property, has to put a channel in the property. We have agreed to be the third party with taxable authority that the county requires to actually maintain the channel. That's the exchange or the agreed upon exchange for the rights to be on the property for the well. The property owner is responsible for all the costs. So there's no district costs for the monitoring. It's a well at a site that's needed in order to comply with our waste discharge requirements, and we also are going to be asking for a site that the same property owner owns to the south. So I recommend that you approve.
Any questions?
Yeah, I have a question, Kim. Was there some discussion about storm drain maintenance and who would provide that? Yeah, so the channel maintenance, which is the main portion of the, let's see, if you look at, and it's probably really difficult to see, but in your packet there was an exhibit B or C that showed the extent of the channel, and there's a specific maintenance plan for the channel. The on-site maintenance of their sump of the development, that's not our responsibility. It's only the main channel, and the owner has to fund that. So we had to take on the responsibility as a third party because the county required it. Now we had to, but that was the impetus for us to enter into this agreement at essentially zero cost to get the well in. But we had to commit. Now there's an out in the agreement if we don't need the well there. Why would we need to do this if we don't have the right to have a well there? There's an out in the agreement so that in the event that we don't need the well there, we need to move it off site, then we can get out of the agreement.
Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Any other questions? I have a motion for NB 7. So moved.
6.
By Director Wallace.
NB 6.
NB 6. I moved down there too quick. NB 6. I have a motion for NB 6. So moved. Motion by Director Wallace. Second.
Second, Director Webb.
Second, Director Webb. All in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? NB 6 is approved unanimously. NB 7, the adoption of Resolution 2023-9 that provides for collection of the water and sewer services on the tax bill. This needs to be done every year, and I believe there's actually no change to either one of them.
Well, there is because the collection of the base fees for sewer and water is based on our rate.
Oh, it did go ahead.
So every year, as we know from Dr. Rockebrand explaining to us.
But that was put in place. This is just...
Correct. This is
the third year.
Yeah, so the district has been using this collection method of the tax roll levy for charging and collecting base water and sewer fees since 2020.
Those increases were approved already, and for any future increase, we would have to come back to the public.
That's correct.
That was approved by the rate study. So as such, the manner of collection of service fees is exempt from Prop 218. Government Code Section 61115B authorizes the district to provide for the collection of base fees for water and sewer service on the tax roll in the same manner as property tax. There's no cost is attributed by this action. There is no budgetary impact unless the attached resolution is not passed, and that would impair the ability of the RCSD to collect the assessments needed to pay the district's expenses. Staff recommends that the Board of Directors by motion approve and adopt the following resolution number 2023-9 related to water and sewer base fees through the tax roll of Kern County for fiscal year 23-24.
Motions are approved.
Have a motion by Director Webb. May I have a second? Second by Director Stewart. All in favor for NB 7. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried 5-0. Presentation. Water reclamation plant project comes out from behind the bushes. And talk to it.
Banner shirt on tonight?
Yes. So first off, good evening, everyone. Before I go into the construction update, the plant update, I'd like to comment on what was approved for NB5. And whenever you bring someone on new, current staff gets a little nervous. I think I can definitely speak for myself, and I'd be willing to speak for behalf of the rest of the community. Kid Domingo was brought on here, and with his expertise and background, he brings a lot to the table. He offers a lot of new ideas, different ways of seeing things, and helping us as staff work through current and existing problems that and it has just been a pleasure to be able to work with Mr. Domingo. And the same can be said for Ms. Sherry. I don't have a lot of dealings with her. I don't know the office, but she does help me with a lot of things as far as paperwork, keeping employees paperwork straight, things like that. And they are both an asset to RCSD as well as, in general, just a pleasure to work with. So I thank the board for that, and I also thank those two individuals.
Outstanding. Thank you.
Thank you, Ryan, but you already got your...
Don't get any more.
Comments or something else?
I'll ask for another one here.
Wait, can I make a real quick comment?
Yes, sir.
And I love what you said, but all of you guys collectively make a really good team.
Absolutely.
Because you guys all bring something to the table. We thank you because the community, the public, gets the benefit. So thank all of you.
It's been a pleasure working with the staff, especially Ryan.
Absolutely.
Just have to
Okay.
Oh, no, the first 2 weeks I came in, I'm sure Mr. Domingo said this was well done. Construction. Last two meetings, I should say, I come in and I kind of keep the same update, because we're kind of on standby, we're kind of on. This week, once again, is the same. There are some things that we are currently waiting on that they are ready to finish up, but we are waiting on parts. And due to the project has been extended as it is a waste on both parties' times, I guess you could say, to come out just do little miscellaneous things. As long as the items that need to be repaired are not giving staff to do their job, we're waiting until they can come out and get it all resolved. So when I say they haven't been on site in the last 3 weeks of months, it's not necessarily due to a fault of their own. We're trying to utilize the best time and funds available to all parties. However, tomorrow we do have a meeting between RCSD, ours and Pacific Hydrotech and Kennedy Juice to go over and finalize the plan for the added equipment necessary to be able to finish the damaged blower and operate the backup generator. We're currently waiting on scheduling for distribution box 4 recode that is not hidden staff are doing their job, and when the time for the recode comes, it will be no problem to take that box offline, and it will not stop production of recycled water. After that, there are some miscellaneous items of SCADA that can be done. And then finally, turning on the alarm system. The alarm systems are all in place, but they haven't been initiated yet. And once those items are finished, construction as a whole should be. As far as plant updates for the everyday life of the staff out the plant, staff has been working on standard maintenance of both equipment and ground maintenance. Staff has worked installing a new VFD for a headworks pump, one of our main headworks pumps that went down. The unit was over 20 years old, and it finally was not performing anymore and was replaced. We've been driving manholes as we have started to see, and it's not unusual with summertime coming in, an increase and decreased flow. As like the sewer plant, you learn when our high influence and our low influence are. And those are starting to shift. One of the things that we made sure that we do is we drive manholes, we inspect manholes, to make sure that there isn't any vandalism occurring as far as dumping, things of that nature, to verify our high flow support. Staff continues to monitor and sample for effluent quality to ensure it meets the quality control limits set by the regional board. I'm pleased to say that not only does our water meet the standards for reclaimed and reused water, but it also far exceeds. I apologize, I didn't have all the information today for you guys. Next meeting, I will have a report me or Sherry that they can provide to you of the year-to-date and month-by-month of the water that has been percolated into the aquifers. So that way a calculated cost savings over the year can be calculated. In closing, as the staff of Rcsd prides ourselves on producing a quality, useful byproduct that many would deem unuseful, we will continue to percolate water, replenishing and fueling the aquifer. This is allowing Rcsd to pump more water from our wells that we were limited by the adjudication ruling. At the end of this will ultimately save the ratepayers of Roseman a great amount. If there's any questions on either the plant update or the construction.
You talked about the, I'm drawing a blank on the warning, the alarm system.
Yeah.
Have they installed an alarm at your house?
Yes,
I didn't say there is alarm.
I do have it. It will ring in. It goes to me first, and then I was also furnished with the laptop that I can access my data system from my home. Now, of course, anything major going on that's unsolved, but I can use it first before I go out there.
Any questions?
Yeah, Ryan, Director Washington here. Just want to thank you for the update and coming forth with your observations. We appreciate that.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Director's reports or comments for agenda items, future items. Director Washington.
All right, thank you.
Good
Thank you,
order.
Thank you, Mr. President. The month of May is the National Water Safety Month, and the American Red Cross wants to ensure that every member of your family becomes water competent. With the summer months here, trips to the beach and swimming pool activity increases. Teaching your kid to swim at an early age is a benefit. I can think back to when my daughter was young, and she went on a field trip with her Girl Scouts to the beach, and not knowing how to swim. I have to say, it was a worrisome weekend for me. But Roseman is now fortunate enough to have a nearby YMCA that offers lessons, as well as our own community pool opening up soon. Now, I'm speculating, but I believe swim lessons will be offered at some point with the hiring of 15 soon-to-be hired lifeguards. Lastly, and I hope the PR team's in the room, a big thank you to our PR team for getting the word out about the trapped oxygen appearing in the water after the routine maintenance this week. I saw a little chatter starting up on social media about the water, and the PR team nipped it in the bud with what the problem was. So really appreciate that. You hit a home run with that one. That's all I have.
Thank you. Director Wallace.
No.
Director Stewart.
I'm going to preface this by saying I don't know the exact numbers, but I talked about it earlier tonight, and I want to bring it up that I attended the AVIC board meeting last night, and one of the points of interest, one of the things I found very interesting is there's a scrap metal recycling plant where they will be making rebar going in off Stop Road and Sierra Highway. They are expected to use 1,300 acre-feet a year. That's some of the number I'm not too sure about. But they'll be receiving their water from AVEC, as well as, I believe it was 450 jobs. So I think that's a great thing for some of the youth and some of the other people that live local, that there's some growth coming into the area. That is all I have.
Thank you.
Stop and Sierra Highway.
That's where you turn to go to the dump. You go down Desert Block.
Yeah, the Sierra Highway to the first road.
Was that a big tank out there? They could destroy it.
How many pieces of rebar can we get for that?
No, absolutely.
Yeah.
Director Webb.
Yeah, good evening, everyone. Only thing I have is that a lot of folks are graduating, so congratulations to the folks who are graduating.
Yes.
And good luck on it, and continue to do good things. That's all I have, sir. Thank you.
I want you to remember what I said.
It's in the report, but also it's not just a report you get and stick on a shelf. You actually need to implement and put it into practice. So I think that was a loud and clear message. Okay.
All right. Any other questions or any comments for the good of the cause? Whatever the cause is.
A good cause.
All right, may I have a motion to adjourn? So moved.
Second.
Motion by Director Stewart and second by Director Webb. We adjourned at 6:42. All in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Motion carried.